The adrenal glands or suprarenal glands are two glands located on top of each kidney. The adrenal gland is actually two glands located in the same area. The outermost portion of the gland is made of epithelial tissue, and it is called the cortex. Cells in the cortex of the adrenal gland are organized into layers, each layer secreting a specific adrenal cortex hormone. On the other hand, the inner area of the gland is called the adrenal medulla. The medulla consists of nervous tissue. The area is innervated by sympathetic neurons. These neurons are going to stimulate the release of hormones. Because these hormones are released by the action of neurons, the hormones are called neurohormones. So the adrenal gland is actually two glands, not one. The adrenal medulla, which is made of nervous tissue secreting hormones called neurohormones into the blood. The most superficial part of the gland, the cortex, made of epithelial tissue secreting adrenal cortex hormones. The hormones secreted by the adrenal medulla are of two forms. 80% of the hormones secreted are epinephrine, also called adrenaline. 20% of the hormones secreted are called norepinephrine or noradrenaline. Combined, these hormones are called catecholamines because they are protein-based hormones, more specifically amino acid-based hormones. These hormones are secreted in response to sympathetic stimulation. The hormones target the same receptors as the receptors targeted by the sympathetic nervous system. Those are the alpha or beta receptors. They are called adrenergic receptors because they respond to hormones from the adrenal medulla. Most cells and organs in the body have adrenergic alpha or beta receptors. Adrenal medullary hormones affect virtually every organ and cell in the body, but they have a most notable effect on organs like the liver, blood vessels, and skeletal muscle. Epinephrine specifically causes the liver to release stored glucose, which will lead to an increase in blood glucose. Glycogen, which is the storage form of glucose, will be broken down by the liver and released into the blood. Skeletal muscle, which is the other organ that stores glucose in the form of glycogen, will begin to break down its glycogen for its own use. Adipose tissue will start to break down in order to release lipids into the blood. Epinephrine also has an effect on blood vessels of the heart and skeletal muscle, causing dilation of these blood vessels. Epinephrine and norepinephrine will increase heart rate and the force of heart contraction, called contractility. So epinephrine and norepinephrine have two effects on the heart. They not only increase heart rate, but they're also going to increase the force of contraction. These hormones will also affect peripheral blood vessels, which are the blood vessels of the skin, kidneys, GI tract, and other viscera. These hormones will cause contraction of these blood vessels. Remember, this is the same effect that the sympathetic nervous system had on peripheral blood vessels. Contraction of peripheral blood vessels causes a movement of blood away from these organs towards the center of the body, the heart, lungs, skeletal muscle, brain. Because most of these large blood vessels will receive the blood from the peripheral organs, blood volume will increase in these large blood vessels. An increase in blood volume will have an effect of increasing blood pressure. And that is how epinephrine and norepinephrine ends up causing an increase in blood pressure. Regulation of adrenal medullary hormones is through the sympathetic nervous system in response to stress, physical activity, low blood pressure, low blood glucose. Remember, epinephrine and norepinephrine are going to increase blood glucose and increase blood pressure. Therefore, the body will need to secrete these hormones when there is low blood pressure and low blood glucose. Low blood glucose, low blood pressure, and physical activity will activate the sympathetic nervous system. When the sympathetic nervous system is activated, the message via the sympathetic neurons is sent to the adrenal medulla, which in turn secretes epinephrine and norepinephrine hormones. The effect of these hormones in the body will be the same as the effect of the sympathetic nervous system throughout the body. There will be an increase in blood glucose, an increase in fatty acid released into the blood, increased heart rate and contractility of the heart, which will increase blood pressure, increase the metabolic activity of the skeletal muscles, increased blood flow. It will be an increase in blood flow through the heart, skeletal muscle, and other large blood vessels in the middle of the body, which further will increase blood pressure, decrease blood flow of peripheral organs, and in turn decrease organ function, meaning the peripheral organs like skin, GI tract, urinary organs, their activity will decrease as blood flow through these organs decreases.